folks that our meeting is recorded this evening and recording has proceeded. I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting tonight on the traditional territory of the Qualicum and Tsawwassen peoples, and we thank them for allowing us to live, work, and play on this beautiful shared territory that we have around us. Approval of the agenda, please. And I believe Trustee Elaine Young would like to add an item to item 17, and we're just going to call it Elaine. So additional item for Karen, your reference is being added to trustee items number 17. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please, to approve the agendas circulated? Trustee Kellogg, seconded Trustee Young. All those in favor? Carried. Approval of the consent agenda as presented. Mover and a seconder, please. So move Trustee Kellogg, seconder. Trustee Young, all those in favor? Carried. There are no delegations this evening, no public question period and comments, no business arising from the meeting. Arrowsmith Teachers Association, Matt Wood, president, has sent his regrets. He's at a union meeting today and will be unable to attend. At this point, I also don't see CUPE President Ewan Rycroft to report this evening on behalf of CUPE. And I do not see Ray Warniak or other individual from DPAC, and he did not send any items to us to insert in the minutes on his behalf. So no report from DPAC. Action items, none. And so we'll try to move right on into information items and our superintendent's report. Dr. Jory.
Well, that came up quickly, Chair Flynn. Thank you very much. Season's greetings, everyone. Hello, bonjour. Escuela CMCAA. I will start with an update on student achievement. The public-facing student success data page went live on Friday with updated resident completion rates for the province and all school districts. Provincial all resident grad rates have actually declined by 1% for the first time since this information has been shared and now sits at 91. Indigenous grad rates provincially went up 1% to 75, and students with unique needs now show 78%. Our Qualicum School District resident students successfully completed their graduation requirements within 6 years at a rate of 88%, with the cohort of Indigenous students matching that at 88%, and students with unique needs completing at 77%. I am pleased with the results, especially since there were two notable factors working against the system locally, and I presume across the province as well. One is notably poor attendance at the secondary level. The anecdotal commentary on this topic was not wrong, as the data showed a strong downward trend there over the last 2 years. Better news on that front in a moment. The second factor was a missing data set that I have relied on in my previous roles for over a decade. This particular file lists students in each cohort who are identified as connected to the school district, which staff can then use to identify who is no longer in school nor enrolled elsewhere, then locate them and potentially re-engage them in their learning. This same information has been used for several years here in the Qualicum School District and has resulted in multiple students coming back to us each year, many of whom have subsequently completed. After much lobbying on our part, that data piece has been made available again and will be parsed out and used in our meeting with secondary principals on Thursday. The hard work would go on regardless, but this additional level of insight is helpful in supporting our most vulnerable students and gives us increased optimism for the upcoming cohorts. I won't make too much of the Indigenous grad rate reaching parity because we are talking about a relatively small cohort of students, and we are still not where I think we need to be. However, it is still another step on the path toward equity and should be noted. I don't want parity to be celebrated. I want it to be normal. I want it to be expected. I will express my gratitude to all of you across the district who have supported students towards successful school completion, as discussed throughout our strategic planning process and through the beginning stages of our rollout. The importance of meaningful graduation has been and will continue to be our primary focus, and I hope that everyone in the Qualicum School District takes pride in each positive milestone that we pass in our journey. I mentioned good news regarding student attendance. The board will recall previous conversations identifying our local approach to what is certainly a global issue in the post-pandemic context. Global issues often require local responses. Elementary schools and secondary schools have each worked together to align their new practices regarding tracking and communication with agreed upon thresholds for letter writing and an emphasis on personal communication with a more positive, welcoming, and encouraging tone. Student attendance is trending positively in every school in the district this fall and is looking much, much better at secondary so far. Certainly the attention to school culture and simpler timetables have had influence as well. We are not at the halfway point in the year yet, but we are off to an encouraging start and are hopeful that with continued attention, our focus on giving, growing, and belonging will help lead to more learning. November 29th was the date of this year's Ministry Planning Day. School staff spent the morning in conversations in support of their school plans. Staff long service recognitions occurred throughout the district over meals sponsored by the Board of Education, which seemed to be very well received. In the afternoon, we hosted a Teams conference with guest speaker Carolyn Roberts, who joined us for the second time in 4 years to support us in our learning journey towards truth and reconciliation and the decolonization of the school system. Thank you to the Long Service Committee, the Indigenous Education Department, the Tech Department, and to all the school principals for all of their extra work in making this day a success. As mentioned a number of times over the last year, we will be continuing on with our transportation review. Better and more efficient service will be the intention on many improvements we have seen in the last 2 years, which includes online registration, electronic rosters, and shorter ride times. Again, we are noting that 2 of our schools start much earlier than the others, and this difference certainly creates issues with equity. As countless studies have shown, there are many benefits to starting school later, even if later means somewhere between 8:40 and 9 a.m. rather than 8:10 a.m. Further surveys focused on those 2 schools will examine challenges that might be raised around student supervision and childcare, and will help us consider how we might support families with expanded morning programs before any potential changes are brought back to the board. Those of you who read their email, I think I hear that some of you have just been doing so, will have seen a notice from Leslie Rowan regarding changes to protocols. I will ask everyone across the system to please look at that email carefully, then take some time to make your updates according to the new criteria. Further steps will be on the way, and although these processes are sometimes seen as a nuisance, it's time for us to make some changes. We ask for your patience and support as we do. On a final note, I hope everyone will have a chance to enjoy a winter concert or 2 around the school district in the next 2 weeks. I know that I will be out there admiring the tinsel ropes and ugly sweaters and songs and other such things, and reminding our staff that while this is generally seen as a fun and exciting time of year, that not all of our families celebrate Christmas, and it is our responsibility to provide an inclusive learning environment where everyone feels they belong, and that our public-facing communications need to respect that diversity. That being said, please enjoy yourselves, everyone, safely, of course, and have yourselves a very well-deserved and restful holiday out there in Whoville whenever you are able to do so. Thank you again to all of our staff for their hard work and enthusiasm this December. Well done, everyone. Haisepkwa. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks, Dr. Jory. Trustees, any questions of the superintendent's report? A little piece of it jumped over, you blanked out on transportation, but it is worth to note that making further steps and outreach to parents, family, community, and our staffs to talk about transportation and the like of where it may move for September 2025. And seeing no comments, then we can move to the educational programs update team, Team Wilson and Terpstra. Associate Superintendent Wilson, are you going first, or is Director of Instruction, Mr. Terpstra, taking the lead? Who hits the unmute button first? Ah!
Go ahead, Rudy.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, just a few updates. First of all, district assessments across the district have been completed, and right now this week and last week, the teaching and learning team are coordinating groups of teachers actually to look at those results and again plan action. So we gather teachers from each of the schools to look at their school results and then discuss the assessments, discuss what they see from the students, and then actions. And then we also plan a lot of our Pro-D and also their learning support in the system based on that. FSAs are now officially, as of today, delivered back to schools. Those two will be packaged back to classroom teachers so they can look at how their students did specifically, and then they will come home either by Christmas with learning updates, which is my next point, or early in the new year. And learning updates are going out as we speak, should be in by Wednesday next week at the latest, depending on where your student attends school. And of course, secondaries already came out in the middle of last month. I did want to share, I'm just going to share a couple slides from our French Advisory Committee and just update the board on the French program, and not going to take any time at all. But I did want to alert everyone, the one thing is this is the federal provincial languages funding that we get to about $100,000 in our district. You can see on the slide there that the new categories have changed, giving us a little bit more flexibility. The old categories actually had a number fixed to how we spent. So for example, learning assistance was about $9,000, e-technology was $14,000. So we're able to have a little bit more flexibility in how we use that money under the new reporting categories. And also, so that I think is a good thing for us, but and we've already adapted our budgets accordingly. The enrollment numbers you can see, and again, this is students enrolled in French immersion, both at Oceanside and Bolinas. The numbers in parentheses are last year's numbers. And then our core French, as well as everyone knows, grades 5 to 8 all essentially take it as a requirement. And then in secondary, in grades 9 to 12, it's an elective, and we have about 149 students taking French immersion. And the nice news is that we have worked hard on making our immersion program both a solid program, focusing on the learning and improvement, improving numeracy and literacy, along with creating bilingual students at the end of the program. And what's resulted is a nice increase in the program, but really a stabilization of that program. And you can see the numbers have been 450 to 470 right now, but the line's sort of plateauing at a good strong number, and we're happy about that. And that is really all the updates on French immersion I'll give you. And last thing is, just highlighting again, as a result of all our data that we're getting from our students in schools, we have continued work with Carol Fullerton. She's going to be joining us in the new year, specifically at Arrington Elementary School, where every single teacher there will go through a learning round for half a day and numeracy focus sessions. We have our secondary teachers all spending a day with Carol Fullerton as well. And then we have a dinner series in February for any teachers that want to attend. So exciting learning coming across the district. Thanks.
Cool. And Elaine, the question of Mr. Terpstra.
I just want a little shout out here. A couple of trustees, myself and Trustee Flynn, I think, went to the middle years, engaging the middle years session, and I was really impressed with this session. It was around Indigenous learners, and our district did a presentation that was awesome. And I'm really enjoying going to these series that normally, you know, it would be teachers going to, but some of the stuff that I've learned has just been awesome. So thank you very much for sponsoring those series.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us of that,
Yeah.
Trustee Young, and that for everyone that wasn't able to. They are they are tape series, by the way, and also this one featured both Katie Marin and Sarah Elson Hogan
From our district. Great stuff. And Associate Superintendent Ms. Wilson.
Just a few things also this evening. One of them is the Prevent Your program, which is working in our secondary schools with all of our grade 8s. We've done our screening for that, and the working groups will start to be formed for after the winter break. But there's some interesting data already coming out in terms of the personality tendencies of our grade 8, whether they're risk takers, have negative self-talk, or anxious. And that's which group, if they qualify to be part of a group, that they go into as a working group. So more feedback from our youth in terms of what they need and what they're working on. And it's an interesting piece of data that we've not had exposure to before. So really looking forward to that. Want to mention that the Integrated Child and Youth Team, known as the ICY, is moving along nicely. We've just hired our clinical counselor. We'll start with who is a school district staff, and they will start at the end of January. We're already working with community partners around what the referral process will look like for that. And I know Island Health are working on adding their team members that are funded and supported through Island Health. The Indigenous support person was on their to-do list this week in terms of making sure they were going to do the interviewing this week so that we can make sure that we add the complement of team members to that particular group. We had a great meeting with our community literacy, the Decoder meeting. And so it is something that we are part of. The community literacy is a community table that looks at literacy from 0 all the way up through seniors. And we're looking at putting out some grant applications for our community to look at what they want to do to provide support to the particular age group that different organizations are working with. Sheila did a great job of leading that conversation. And I know that I'm sure as a school district, as well as early years, we might be putting some grants forward to support some of the programs that we're doing around literacy. Ready, Set, Learn has taken a visit back to what we used to do. And for those of you that have been around for a little while, you remember Mother Goose Goes to Schools. It's not Mother Goose going into schools right now, but it is a similar concept where we've got an ECE going into our elementary schools and doing play, group, music, whatever it is that the ECE is organized for preschoolers and their parents. It's a way to have our families come into schools before they register to schools and familiar with our school buildings. So we did check in with the elementary principals and vice principals yesterday at our meeting, and it's been slow to start, but it's been picking up. So there's been a couple of sessions at each of the schools, and that you'll see on the OBLT website in terms of where they're going and what day they're going to be in that particular school. You don't have to go or be attending that school eventually. It might be grandparents that live next door to another school that want to go with the kiddos to the Ready, Set, Learn event. That was it for mine, other than wishing everybody a great winter holidays.
Thanks, Associate Superintendent Wilson. Any comments, trustees? Seeing none. The local calendar, school calendar process, it's come around again, that those years travel around quickly, that because we have an extended process now in the district, except beyond the 1 year to 1 year to 1 year. So Ms. Wilson would like to share our process now.
Yeah, we're really excited. We've already been involved in a fair bit of collaboration and conversation around a 3-year calendar. And so what you'll see come out by the end of the week or early into next week is a copy of the calendar that is a 3-year calendar that has all of the dates put into the calendar. We've been in consultation with Mount Harrismith Teachers Association, with MATA, to look at when they want to put in their professional development days, and where we put in our district day, known as the Minister Day, where the conferencing adjustment days go. We are obliged to some contractual language around when we start spring break, when Christmas start, or winter break starts, all those things. So we've also taken it to, it's gone to staff committees already. It's gone to our CIAC, our Curriculum Implementation Advisory Committee, for feedback, and we spent quite a bit of time looking at those dates and making sure it worked for a variety of different reasons. So we're excited to send it out for public consultation for everybody to have another look at. It will come out with a quick survey. The survey will be open over the winter break for people to give feedback on. And then we hope to bring it back before the board for the January board meeting for approval based on the recommendations that will be put forward from senior management. We're being informed that, and remembering that the calendar can be changed with any 30-day consultation. So I know that the matters said we want to go with the 1 year, but we're going to put 3 years out there. The first year will be supported by MATA, and the second 2 years are there for information, and it is there, but we can go back to the consultation process if there's a change for whatever reason. And we've experienced that before when there's been a couple of days added mid-year, and remember the September 30th was added. There was another day that was added, the passing of the Queen, and we had to go back into that consultation process with our stakeholders. And so it is a process that we're familiar with. So looking forward to seeing the 3-year calendar come out and feedback to come back to us.
Thanks, Ms. Wilson. What kind of questions would you be asking in the survey? That's a new addition, I think, but maybe just I'm getting missing things that are 3 years old now.
The survey did go out last time as well. And so the questions that we're asking in the district calendar will be, where do parents, for example, prefer to have a professional development attached to a weekend or midweek? Questions, whether it's a parent group or whether it's a part of a staff that's asking, giving input, and then some general comments for feedback. There is one addition to False Bay's calendar. We are asking the False Bay community and the trustee, as well as the PAC over at False Bay, know this is coming. We're asking for some feedback on whether they want to be looking at a 4-day school week. We currently have, it came from that fortnight week, which was the 2-week rotation, to having 10 days alternate. We've been 12 days alternate. We've had 8 days alternate. It's gone all over the place. So we're curious whether the community wants to see a 4-day school week, and so we're asking that question specifically for False Bay, knowing that they have difficulties getting on and off the island for appointments and groceries and all those kind of things. So we thought we'd ask and see what kind of feedback we get.
Great.
And through to Trustee Kellogg, we did share that with the PAC, and they seemed very receptive to wanting to give us some feedback on that.
And seeing no hands, thank you very much. It's a fulsome report on the local calendar process and going forward. Finance and Operations Committee of the whole didn't meet this month due to the short term of winter break, so meets next on January 20th. 10:30 a.m. The Policy Committee meets the 20th at 1 p.m. and the Education Committee of the whole will meet Tuesday, January 21st at 2:30 in 2025. There are no reports from outside organizations, so I'll turn it over to trustee items titled Elaine. Go ahead, Trustee Young.
Thank you. I received an email from the president of the BC School Counselors Association. The primary goal of that association is to enhance the awareness of school counselors as qualified mental health professionals, something that I certainly was part of and certainly believe in. This is also someone who works in our district as a counselor, and her comment was, I just wanted to share that I was saddened by a comment that you made at the last board meeting. This had to do with your excitement about having an RCC in the district. I'm sure you had no intention other than acknowledging additional resources coming to our district, but the comment did not land well with someone who is an RCC, and that excitement rarely lands on the skilled, trained counselors within our district, some of whom are RCCs and CCCs, or even both. Many of you know that I have a background in counseling, and I have always supported all of our counselors being properly certified, and I was a CCC myself. So I did respond, and I said, to answer your concerns, I do not believe that I said an RCC, but another RCC. And then I went on to explain, how I had supported counseling in the past. But it leads me to believe that really the role of counselors in our district is not well understood. My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Associate Superintendent Wilson, is that all of our counselors in every one of our schools is properly trained and certified. And that allows them actually to be in private practice and to be therapeutic counselors. They choose to be in the school system, and they are committed to students. So I just wanted to correct that and to provide a little bit more information about my understanding of counseling in our district. And I welcome that we have that level of certification for our counselors. So enough said.
Just for clarification, that people don't know the acronym RCC, could you?
Registered Clinical
Clinical.
Counselors.
Thank you.
And CCC is Canadian Certified Counselors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just so folks know. I don't know as Ms. Wilson wants to respond, but I leave that to her. She can find time to get back to you on your comments. Ms. Austin.
I just wanted to thank Elaine for bringing that forward. I think it's really important. I'm glad you shared that email because I think you're quite right. A number of people, including myself, aren't as clear on the role of counselors in our district as perhaps somebody like you. So I think it's really important to bring that sort of information forward to a regular board meeting and share it out. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Austin. Trustee Kurland.
I think part of the confusion is that the RCCs, or the people that are there to work with students, are different than, say, somebody who's going to go down the counselor's office and work out their timetable. And I think that's where some of the confusion comes in.
Yeah, I would agree. The role of counselors is very broad and very all-encompassing, and that's why I chose to be a school counselor. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Elaine.
Yeah. Ms. Wilson.
Without taking up lots of time, because this is a big topic, I just want to remind us all that we have under the, it's still called the Special Education Handbook, which references the School Act, that school counselors are not to be clinical therapists for students, and they are school counselors. Now, in saying that, we are in a really privileged place, and we're really fortunate that all of the counselors that we currently have hired in our school district are registered clinical counselors, are certified counselors, and they could indeed do exactly as Trustee Young said. Not all districts have that same privilege, and there's a variety of different degrees, but we specifically ask in our postings and we have been able to recruit and retain counselors that have those qualifications. Recognizing that our counselors do counseling work, but schools are not therapeutic settings.
Yeah.
And I say that because we know that therapy has got a broad name as well, but it is not to be able to provide the ongoing therapy.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ms. Wilson. Appreciate that. Trustee Kellogg.
Yeah, this is, I thank you as well, Elaine, for sharing that, but I'm wondering, the person that sent you that email, did you let them know that you were going to publicly share the email that they sent you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Good. Okay, we have no unfinished business, board correspondence or media, and no any public question period. I think we all are part of the team part things, whatever. Any further comments from trustees? Okay, so I somehow think we jumped. Oh, trustee Kellogg, one more time. Yep, go ahead.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, or Happy Holiday, or whatever you celebrate. And to the staff, I just want to thank them from the board that thank you very much for the great job that you did this last year. And happy holidays when it comes.
When it comes. My sentiments exactly, and where I was going to go to end our meeting this evening, and to say have safe and enjoyable time with family and friends. At the break, we still have 10 days to go, and the Christmas and or winter celebrations and things will heighten the level of excitement, at least in our elementary schools. And I hope everyone is able to enjoy a celebration at your liaison schools, and safe travels wherever people may be going over this break. And we'll see everyone. It seems like a long way, January 20th, and then the end of the meeting for whatever, but I know some of us will see each other further down the calendar before that. So could I ask for a motion to adjourn, please, this evening's meeting? Okay, trustee Austin, she's 2 for 2. Inside joke, sorry. Happy holidays, everyone.
Hey,
We'll
Braden,
see you
could you
around.
hang on for a minute?
I can. Who? Braden? Who do
Braden.
you want? Me?
No, Braden.
Okay, I can go. Hi, Braden.